On Christmas morning, I opened a gift from my parents and found a single plane ticket. Confused, I asked, "Where am I going?" My mother smiled and said, "Away. Forever. We're keeping your husband and your kids." My sister laughed, "You never belonged here anyway." Heartbroken, I stood up and said, "That's funny. Because I bought a gift for you too." When they opened it, their faces turned pale. I, 39 female, didn't think I'd ever write something like this, but after everything that's happened, I need to get it off my chest. I've been married to my husband, Sam, 42 male, for 14 years. We have 2 kids together, a son, 12, and a daughter, 9. We lived in a small city in the Philippines, Butuan, close to my family. I had what I thought was a peaceful life. I wasn't rich, but I was content. Or maybe I just didn't know any better. I'm the middle child of 3 girls. My younger sister, Raya, 35 female, was always the favorite. Prettier. More outgoing. She stayed with my parents even after finishing school. My older sister moved abroad years ago and barely kept in touch. I stayed close, maybe too close. Let me say this straight. I was a quiet wife. I worked from home as a freelancer, took care of the house, cooked, helped my kids with homework, and tried to be a good daughter, wife, and mother. I never partied. I didn't gossip. I didn't complain. But somehow, I ended up the villain in my own life. Things started to feel off about a year ago. Sam became distant. Not angry, just cold. Less eye contact. Less talking. Less everything. I thought it was stress. Then he started working late more often, even though he didn't usually need to. At the same time, Raya started acting weird around me. Friendly, but too friendly. Asking questions about my marriage, about Sam. I brushed it off. I didn't want to believe anything bad. Until one day, my daughter asked me something strange. "Why was Tita Raya in Daddy's car yesterday?" She said it so casually, like it was normal. My stomach dropped. I checked our security camera footage. We had one pointed at the garage, which I never bothered to check before. Sure enough, Raya had been coming and going when I wasn't home. And Sam had been picking her up more than once. I didn't explode. I didn't cry. I just went quiet. I started documenting. I checked phone records. Bank statements. I quietly visited a lawyer in town. I started building a file. I also slowly moved money from our joint accounts to an account only I could access. Bit by bit. I even transferred ownership of our car, which was technically under my name, to a cousin of mine. It got worse. One night, my son had trouble sleeping. He came into our room, but Sam wasn't there. I found him in the guest room, talking softly on his phone. He didn't even notice me standing in the hallway. He said Raya's name. Twice. I didn't confront him. Not yet. Instead, I made a plan. I pretended everything was normal. I even baked cookies with my kids and brought some to my parents' house. Raya smiled like nothing was going on. My mom kissed my cheek like she didn't help raise a snake. I waited for Christmas. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted to give them a chance to come clean. Maybe I just wanted to see how deep the lie went. Christmas morning came. We were all at my parents' house, like every year. I brought gifts for everyone, including my parents and Raya. My husband and kids came with me. Everyone was smiling. Laughing. Like a perfect little family on the outside. After breakfast, we opened gifts. Then my mom handed me a small box. "Open this one, Anik," she said, using her sweet voice. I opened it. Inside was a plane ticket. One way. Manila. I thought it was a joke at first. I laughed a little and looked at them. "What's this?" My mother didn't laugh back. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "It's time for you to go." Forever. We're keeping Sam and the kids. You don't belong here anymore. I was so stunned I couldn't even speak. Then Raya burst out laughing. You always acted like you were better than us. You never were. You were always boring and cold and weird. You don't fit in. Sam just stood there. Didn't say a word. He looked away. My heart broke right there. I felt it split in two. 14 years. 2 kids. Countless nights nursing fevers, packing lunches, and carrying this whole family on my back, and now I was being thrown out like trash. But I didn't cry. I just stood up slowly. That's funny, I said, pulling out a small box from my bag. I got something for you too. I handed it to my mother. She opened it. Inside were neatly stacked papers. At the top was a cover page from my lawyer. Then came the bank statements. The proof of their affair. Audio recordings. Screenshots. Photos. A copy of a signed affidavit from our family driver who saw them together. Property transfers. Custody documents. They looked at it and froze. My father, who had stayed silent until then, grabbed the papers and flipped through them. He turned pale. My mother looked like she had been slapped. Raya went quiet. For once. I turned to Sam. You might want to read the custody terms, I said. Then I called out to my kids. Let's go. They hesitated, but followed me. My daughter asked if we were going to Grandma's house later. I told her no. And I walked out. We got in the car. I didn't speak right away. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. My kids were in the back seat, half asleep, their holiday joy gone quiet. I looked at them through the mirror and made a decision. We drove to a hotel downtown. Small, nothing fancy, but clean and safe. I ordered food, let the kids watch cartoons, and went into the bathroom. I sat on the floor and cried quietly, where they couldn't hear me. That night, I called my lawyer again. I told him it was time. He filed everything. Divorce. Custody. Restraining orders. The next day, I sent one final message to Sam. Just 3 words, you made this. Then I blocked him. I didn't hear anything for 2 days. Not from my parents. Not from Raya. Nothing. Just silence. But then the calls started coming. From unknown numbers. Blocked numbers. Fake profiles. Suddenly, I was the villain. My aunt called me crying, asking why I was tearing the family apart. My cousin messaged me, "What did you do to Raya?" She's in the hospital now, crying her eyes out. Oh, now she could cry? They said I was selfish. That I was making a big deal out of just a fling. That I was dragging family into court like strangers. They didn't see the months of cold shoulders, the emotional abandonment, the lies. They didn't see the way Sam used to hold my hand while looking me dead in the eye, knowing full well he was sneaking around with my own sister. They didn't see the quiet rage I swallowed for a year while everyone smiled in my face. They called it drama. I called it truth. About a week after I left, my lawyer got a call. From Sam's new lawyer. They wanted to negotiate. Suddenly Sam was afraid. He realized what was coming. But it was too late. I had moved fast. Too fast for them to catch up. See, when I said I transferred things, I meant everything. I'd switched the business accounts under my name. The land title that my name was half on? Now it was sold. Quietly. Legally. Gone. The car they thought they'd keep? Already sold to a friend overseas. My mom's name wasn't even on it. She just used it like it was hers. The family house? My name was on that too, long story involving some inheritance years ago. They never thought I'd touch it. But I did. I signed it off to a children's shelter under my old foundation's name. They couldn't undo it. They started panicking. Raya texted me from a new number, please. We were wrong. Let's talk. We're still sisters. I didn't reply. My mother finally called, from her landline. I answered. She didn't yell. She didn't beg. She said one thing, you've embarrassed this family. You'll regret this. And then she hung up. 2 weeks later, the police showed up at my hotel. A social worker came with them. Someone filed a report that I was mentally unstable and unfit to care for my kids. I almost laughed. But the fear in my kids' eyes wiped the smile off my face. The social worker was polite. She said someone filed it anonymously. Claimed I'd been paranoid, erratic, and emotionally abusive. Luckily, I'd already spoken to my own counselor. I had records, receipts, and even video footage from the hotel showing I was fine, my kids were fine, and we were just living quietly. After 30 minutes, the police apologized and left. But I knew who did it. My mother. She once told me, years ago, that family always has a way to get what they want. That day, she showed me what she meant. But I wasn't afraid. I was furious. I thought Sam would try to disappear quietly. But he didn't. He tried to fight back. He filed a counterclaim for joint custody. Said I was turning the kids against him. Said I was bitter and trying to destroy his life. He showed up at my son's school one day. Without warning. Without telling me. My son cried when he saw him. Said he didn't want to go. Sam tried to drag him to the car. Luckily, a teacher saw and stopped him. I was called. I rushed there with the court papers in hand. A week later, he tried again with my daughter. This time at her ballet class. She screamed. Another report. Another warning. This time, the judge took it seriously. He got a temporary no-contact order slapped on him. He showed up at court wearing the same suit I bought him for our anniversary. He looked at me like a stranger. I didn't look back. A month passed. Then one night, I got an email. From Raya. The subject line said, "You win." Inside was a long message. She said Sam dumped her. Said he called her too much work now that things were messy. Said he moved in with a coworker. Some girl from his job. Younger. Pretty. Single. She said she was depressed. That no one visited her anymore. That mom barely spoke to her. That everything she thought she was stealing ended up worthless. She said she never meant to hurt me. That she thought Sam loved her. She asked if I'd forgive her. I didn't reply. But I didn't delete it either. Now I'm living in a rented house near the coast. Simple life. Kids are with me. Court case still ongoing. Sam keeps trying. My mom keeps whispering to the relatives. But something changed. People started seeing through the cracks. My uncle apologized. My cousin sent groceries to the new place. The housekeeper from my parents' place sent me a message, we all knew. We just didn't know what to do. I'm glad you finally did something. But I can still feel the storm behind me. The whispers. The tension. They're waiting for me to fall. And honestly? I'm not sure what comes next. A few weeks after Raya's email, I got another message. But this time from someone I didn't expect. It was from a woman named Arlene. I didn't know her at first. Her message started with, "I think we need to talk." It's about Sam. I hesitated. Thought it was spam. But then I scrolled down and saw a photo. Sam and Arlene. Together at some resort in Ciargo. The date on the image? 4 months before everything blew up. He had already moved on before Raya. I called her. My voice was cold, but I was curious. And a bit scared. She told me everything. They met at a conference in Cebu. Sam said he was single. They started dating casually. He'd fly to see her once a month. She didn't ask too many questions, until she found a photo of me and the kids on his old phone one day while he was showering. She confronted him. He told her I was just the mother of his kids. That we weren't married. That I was unstable. Sound familiar? But what Arlene didn't expect was that Sam had proposed to her. She said yes. Until she saw my name trending on a local Facebook group after someone shared my story anonymously, without names, just enough details that Arlene connected the dots. She ended the call with, "I think you should know, he didn't just lie to you and Raya. He lied to everyone. Including himself." Another twist came during a routine visit with my lawyer. He told me something strange had come up during the review of the old family land titles, stuff I never paid attention to before. Apparently, my grandmother, who passed away 5 years ago, had left a will that included a clause about inheritance. A clause that had never been activated. It said, if at any time my granddaughter, my name, is removed from her rightful property or denied her inheritance by family members, her share shall double, and any relative complicit in her removal shall forfeit theirs. I was stunned. I remembered Grandma as a quiet woman. Soft voice, always wore house dresses. But she saw what my family was long before I did. The problem? The will was buried in a legal folder in a rural notary's office, never filed properly. My lawyer said we could still invoke it. But if we did, my parents could lose everything. It wasn't just about revenge anymore. Now, it was about legacy. Here's where it got messy again. After weeks of quiet, things started leaking. Details I never shared publicly were suddenly being discussed in vague Facebook posts. People I never trusted started tagging me in memes. Some laughed. Others mocked me. That's when I realized someone close to me was feeding them information. I thought hard. Only a few people had access to my personal notes. Only a few knew where we had moved. One of them was my cousin, Jean, who had offered to help after hearing about the fallout. I never suspected her. She always acted neutral. Said she hated drama. But drama, it seems, paid well. I confronted her. At first, she denied it. Then I showed her the screenshot from a burner account she forgot to fully hide, one that reposted one of my private journal entries almost word for word. She froze. I needed the money, she finally said. Turns out, Raya was paying her to spy. Or maybe my mom. Maybe both. Either way, Jean broke down. Said she didn't think it would get this serious. Said she thought I was strong enough to handle it. I told her to leave and never contact me again. That night, I changed every password, every account, every lock on the house. We finally got a court date. For custody, assets, and the rest of it. I walked in with my head high. Sam looked rough. Thinner. Bitter. Not the man I married, just a shell. But right before we were about to start, his lawyer handed the judge a USB drive. My stomach dropped. I didn't know what was on it. But judging from Sam's smug look, he thought he'd won. The judge played it. It was a voice recording. Sounded like me. Crying. Screaming. Saying I'd take the kids and make him suffer. Only one problem. It wasn't me. It was AI. Clumsily edited. With my voice clipped from old videos and stitched together. My lawyer jumped in instantly. We had proof. I had never said those words. Never even had that conversation. And the software used? It was flagged by forensic audio experts already for deepfakes. The judge paused. Then he spoke, if this is fabricated, it is not only inadmissible, it's criminal. Sam's face changed instantly. His lawyer looked like he wanted to sink through the floor. Right now, we're still waiting for the judge's decision. But even if I win every court battle, the scars are there. My son wakes up some nights asking if we'll have to leave again. My daughter draws pictures of our old house, with her Tita Raya crossed out. My phone buzzes sometimes with strange messages. Homewrecker. Liar. Why'd you break up the family? But I don't answer anymore. Because now I know, I never broke the family. They did. The final hearing was set for a Thursday morning. Rain poured heavily that day, like the sky itself knew something was about to break. The courtroom was packed. Word had spread. Family. Former friends. Even people from our barangay came to support or snoop. My mother sat behind Sam, holding Raya's hand like some martyr. The judge went through the motions, custody discussions, property splits, but we were all waiting for the confrontation we knew was coming. It started when my lawyer submitted the rebuttal packet. Inside was everything. The voice analysis proving Sam's audio was fake. Arlene's signed affidavit. Screenshots from Raya's burner accounts. Even statements from staff who overheard them planning to cut me out. The judge looked at Sam. Do you deny these claims? Sam stood up. His hands trembled. I was angry, he said. I was scared. She was trying to destroy my life. I stood too. I was trying to save mine. Then it happened. My daughter cried out. Daddy, why did you lie? Silence fell. Everyone turned. My son hugged her tightly. I saw you and Tita in the room, he whispered. I didn't tell Mommy because I thought I did something wrong. Sam's face crumpled. Raya stood up, her face red. We didn't mean for it to happen. The judge slammed his gavel once. Sit down. Then he said, this isn't about what you meant. This is about what you did. Outside the courtroom, things exploded. My mother followed me into the hallway, pulling on my arm. You humiliated us. In front of everyone. I turned slowly. No, Ma. You humiliated yourselves. She slapped me. It wasn't hard, but it was loud. Enough to turn heads. Enough to make people gasp. My cousin Jean, yes, that Jean, stepped in between us. Tita, enough. You've done enough. Sam came out next. He didn't look at me. He just walked past, shoulders slumped, like the weight of everything finally crushed him. Raya didn't speak to me. She cried silently beside my mother, who stared at me with so much hate it almost scared me. But I didn't flinch. Not anymore. A week later, the judge released the ruling. Full custody to me. No visitation for now. Assets split in my favor. Sam ordered to undergo therapy before any parental rights could be reconsidered. A criminal case was pending for the forged audio. The family home? It stayed in the shelter's hands. I watched the news spread on social media. No more mocking memes. No more shady posts. Just silence. And that silence was everything I needed. 2 months later, I moved the kids into a small, sunny house by the beach. I found a job teaching writing at a local college. My son joined a chess club. My daughter started drawing again, pictures of boats, birds, and mothers smiling with kids. One night, I got a letter. It was from Sam. He said he was sorry. He didn't justify it. Didn't beg. He said he finally understood what he did. That he didn't deserve forgiveness. But he hoped someday the kids might see him again. I didn't reply. But I didn't tear it up either. I put it in a box. Beside the photos. The court papers. Raya's email. My grandma's will. Proof that I lived. That I survived. I don't know if I'll ever fully heal. Some days I still cry in the shower. Some nights I stare at old photos and ask myself, how did I not see it sooner? But I also know this, I am not broken. I am not weak. I walked away with my dignity, my children, and my truth intact. The people who tried to erase me ended up erasing themselves. I'm still standing. And I will teach my kids that no matter what anyone says, they never have to shrink themselves to make others comfortable. Maybe I didn't belong to them after all, but I've finally come home to myself.